If you're doing a roll outdoors, generally the angle would probably be like this. But if you're indoors, there's no wind, so you use sharper angles.
Flick the disc lightly to create a small amount of spin, and make a ramp with your arm for the disc to roll down. Notice the steep angle. It's easier to learn the back roll inside with no wind.
Remember, patience, especially when you go to back rolls. Let it roll all the way across.
Tipping and kicking are basic, but are still exciting components in today's game. The basic tip is easy, but what I like to do is create multiple consecutive restricted tips. That's a challenge.
For tipping, you use the two middle fingers, the ring finger and the middle finger. Some people use the index finger, but that's what I prefer to use myself, because I use one nail. Some people use two nails, but I use one nail.
Start with a self set above your head, then strike the center of the disc with a quick tap. Next, try tipping at waist level. Start with one tip, then try multiple tips.
One of the most fun parts of freestyle is learning the nail delay. The nail delay is when you're spinning the disc on the hard part of your fingernail. It keeps the disc spinning, and you're able to do lots and lots of different tricks with that disc spinning on your nail. To do this, first thing you need to do is use silicone spray to prepare the bottom of the disc. I've got a can of Krylon silicone spray here. You can use, this is actually one of the better types. Spray on the bottom of the disc, a little bit on the top, wipe it down. It makes it nice and slick. If you notice when you buy a Frisbee from the store, usually if you feel the bottom of the disc, it's not slick enough to be able to successfully delay the disc for very long at all. There's too much friction. So you're doing is you're cutting down on the friction, which makes it easier to do the tricks and the nail delay. Now I'm going to teach you how to do the nail delay step by step. The best way to learn the nail delay is to be jamming with someone and to get some good throws from somebody and to practice spinning it on your fingernail. The other way to do it is to practice by yourself, and in order to do that, you have to learn the self-set. There's several different ways to self-set it. One of the ways you can do it is the two-handed self-set. Now what you want to do is you're going to take the disc, take both of your palms in about the middle of the hand, and you're going to wind it up and snap it. If you're going to do counter spin, you wind it up this way with your right hand closer to you. If you want to do clockwise spin, you're going to wind it up with your left hand closer to you. I'm going to start off with counter spin. So I'm going to snap it, and I'm going to lift the disc up real close to me and then try to do a nailed leg.
When you require even more spin, then switch to the one-handed self-set. You can get more snap with one hand. Grip the disc as tight as you can, then just close your eyes and feel where the most snap occurs. This is a lot like snapping a towel. Since the disc will be at an angle other than flat or parallel to the ground, you must adjust your body angle to help flatten your best snap out. You can delay the disc with any fingernail. We use the index finger for most of our moves. Your finger is not a rigid stick. It's a shock absorber. The finger is not straight, but is bent and flexible. Use a stationary disc and make small circles to create muscle memory. You're constantly adjusting the balance of the spinning disc by making circles in the direction of the spin.
You start out with bigger circles, and you can make smaller circles as you get more in control.
Seldom seen in competition is the claw, and the claw is a good aid in learning how to settle the disc down. If it, instead of coming down, you're trying to do it on one finger, sometimes that can be very tricky. If you kind of create a platform, you can actually slow it down and then go to one finger. This is called the claw. Creating a platform with your hand. You can do it upside down, you can do it right side up, and then you can go to one finger and you can turn it over.
When you first learn how to spin the disc on your fingernail, it's easier to do it above your head. When you receive a disc that's flying in, the reason it's easier is because you can see the center of the disc. As you get better, you learn how to bring it down lower. And that's going to allow you to do lots more tricks.
People often ask me, should I do counter spin or clock spin? Now I say you should do both spins on both hands, maybe even on both feet. But what's easiest to learn first, if I'm turning a doorknob, this is supinating, this is pronating. This is supinating, this is pronating. It's easier to supinate with your muscles, which means counter on the right hand, clock on the left hand to begin with. You'll find this easier to do. Counter spin on the right hand, clock spin on the left hand. Then from there, move to doing clock on both hands and counter on both hands. And you'll be having all kinds of fun.
One of the really important skills you want to learn is how to set it up to yourself. Now what you're doing here is you're lifting the disc while it's spinning in the center, and you're letting go of it. And you're lofting the disc into the air. The trick is to make it go flat, to loft the disc in the air flat. Now that's a little hard to do. I'm making it look a little easier than it really is. So when I spin the disc, I'm lifting it in the center, trying to keep the disc in the center, rising it and letting go. And I'm flicking my finger up at the end. Now I'm not using my arm like this, I'm not going like this. It's not going to work. Now you might have tried that. That's not what you want. It's really easy. And then get control of the disc again.
The easiest set is the rim set. Start by hooking the inside of the rim with your nail. Now as the disc spins, flick or pull it into the wind with the front edge up, and it will return.
Ready? Okay, go ahead, take it away from me. There it is, and twirl your body. Beautiful.
This is the way to set
Keep
up
going.
a catch, roll, or airbrush.
One of the tools that we use in freestyle is called cuffing. Basically, I'm making my arm become the ground. If the disc was spinning in this direction and I was throwing it this way, it would skip off the ground. If I threw it like this, it would skip up. So, if the disc is coming into me in the same way and I'm the ground, I can correct the angle of the disc. So this is a very nice thing. If the disc is coming in really hard and I want to delay it, I can put my arm and cuff it up, put my hand, my fingers, and change the angle.
Now, there are lots of different ways to change the angle or flight of the disc. You can bump it with two or one hand. There's the mid-attitude change, or MAC, which is tapping the top rear of the disc as it passes by. This is the foot MAC. There is the fingernail guides. We're showing you a couple of different techniques. Create a platform with your fingernails, and the disc will be at an angle and just spin on the rim on the nails. There is a flat hand guide. Here's an example of some more benign work and twirls. These are all tools in your arsenal of freestyle. Use them.
This may look like just another field, but in reality, it is a palette where three very special Rembrandts ply their special art. Their names, Arthur Coddington, Dave Lewis, and Tom Leitner, the sport, freestyle frisbee.
Before we learn some moves, let's look at a few basic concepts. Direction of spin, speed of rotation, and the angle of the disc. When you look at the top of the disc spinning, right spin is clockwise, left is counterclockwise. Is the disc barely spinning, or does it have maximum Z's? Finally, what angle does the disc make with the ground? Is it steep or flat? These criteria will help determine what your next move will be. Now we're going to show you some of the basic tricks or moves that will help you build your freestyle game. You will eventually put these moves into sequences that we call combos.
After you learn the nail delay, and you learn how to set the disc to yourself in the delay, then you can start to do moves. There's hundreds of moves you can do, and what you can do is you can string them together in different combinations, be as creative as you want. Freestyle, a lot of moves go from low to high. Under the leg, behind the back. So that's why you want to learn how to spin the disc down here. Now when you're first learning, it's a lot easier to spin it, to receive the disc above your head, because you can see where the middle is, and it's just easier to control at the very beginning. As you get better, you bring it lower, lower. Now, I want to show you how to do the under the leg pass. Spin it on your fingernail, your finger face towards you. Balancing the disc on your nail. Keep it down here and just step your leg over. And push up. That's all it is. Now what I'm doing when I push up, making it go straight up and down. I want the disc to go up flat. I can do it under any leg. Do it under my right leg, the outside my right leg.
The next series of moves is an exercise in flat work and rim work, using both hands and both legs.